What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to the Fate Reforged set review. This is strictly better MTG. I'm Devin.
This is Random.
And this is Tony.
We're today going to bring you the white cards from Fate Reforged. We're going to do all 5 colors today. We're lining up white, and there's some pretty interesting stuff. Let's start with something not so interesting, though. We're about 3 cards away from an interesting card. Let's talk about Abzan Advantage for about half a second. This is 1 and a white for an instant. Target player sacrifices an enchantment, and then you bolster 1. Now, the only thing I really want to talk about for just a second is the bolster ability, just so we can get past that.
Yeah.
Bolster, in case you don't know, is choose the creature with the lowest toughness among your creatures, and then that creature gets X number of counters. In this case, 1. So your 1/1, your elf becomes a bear, in this case. This card, however, is not there. I would say no. We had talked about some sort of sideboard strategy, maybe in aggro, but it's not there. This card isn't good. It's really just there to sort of introduce the bolster ability, and that's about it. So let's move on to Abzan Rune Mark, the first of the rune marks that will hit.
Let's see. Abzan Rune Mark, 1 white, 2 colorless enchant creature gets +2/+2 and vigilance as long as you control a black or green permanent. It's another Abzan gimmick.
Yeah, kind of.
It's not bad in limited. It's going to be +2/+2. Maybe vigilance if you plan for it.
Yeah, I mean this is
that.
just like all the other rune marks. This is a limited card.
Yep.
I mean that's why it's there. That's why it exists.
You really want to play this pretty much if you so say limited. Everyone thinks of limited in a weird way. They think, oh, I need to pick the best cards in my pack and I'm going to win. No. That's completely wrong. It's actually the opposite. You want to pick stuff that does stuff. This does stuff.
That has synergy, and you get a lot of that in this block. Seems to be a lot of synergy with cards that look kind of low powered at first, and then it turns out they work really well with all your other stuff. Yeah. So yeah, it looks a little underwhelming, but it'll work well in your Abzan limited strategy. It'll be fine. You'll turn your 2/2 into a 4/4 vigilance, and they'll have to deal with that. So, but nothing besides limited.
And flashy. You splash the crap out of it.
Speaking of limited, I would say this is a really good limited card here.
Yeah, Azban.
Prisoner of Azban.
3 colorless, 1 white. It's a flyer. It's a 2/2, and when it dies, you bolster 2.
Right. So, 4 mana 2/2. It flies. Evasion is good. It has a sort of replacement effect for its power toughness. It's a good card in limited.
It's a great blocker. It's a great blocker.
I mean, it'll swing in for 2.
It will do that.
Yeah,
it's fine. But I mean, I'm crazy, so I would use this as a blocker.
Yeah.
And then I'd just beef up something that I just threw out and oops, now I have a 7/7 on turn. Was that turn 4?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's got to die. It does have to block and die.
Turn 5, I have a whatever. It could be.
It's one of those things best case scenario, you block one of their flyers, you trade, and one of your guys gets +2/+2. But I mean, your opponent will definitely see something like that coming. But again, they have to play around it. They can't just kill this guy indiscriminately.
No.
Because it'll cause problems
Later on.
So, I mean, I think he's one of the better sort of filler limited cards that you're going to want. He kind of reminds me of the guy from last set. It's like a 2/3 vigilance flying guy for 4 mana. Yeah, he reminds me of that guy a lot, and he'll do things in your limited pool. 4 mana 2/2 flyers are fine. They've traditionally been fine, so play them. Let's move on to Aire Cleric, a 2 mana, it's 1 and a white, 1/3 human cleric, and when he enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. Not great. Let's just say that.
It's reminiscent of a white version of Omen Speaker, but he doesn't have the Omen Speaker effects. So
yeah, if anything, I will say 2 mana 1/3s are good in this format because you have to worry about morphs. You have to worry about a lot of morphs. You have to worry about 3 mana 2/3s are very prevalent in the limited format. So this guy 2 mana 1/3s is fine. He beats a lot of 3 mana turn 3 plays. Doesn't beat them, but at least blocks them favorably. So, I wouldn't say definitely play this guy, but I think he's going to be a little better in your limited pool than you might think he is. But, this is one of those dudes that, if you have better cards, just play better cards. You don't have to think too much about including this guy in your limited pool, honestly.
And for those of you who love gaining life, 3 life.
3 life. 3 life.
Next up on our list, we've got Avon Skirmisher as a 1-drop for warriors. It's a flying 1/1 for 1 white mana. Normally, I'm not in favor of 1-drops in limited, but since you are getting a Khans of Tarkir pack with this pre-release, if you happen to get one of the chieftains that boosts the power toughness, you can probably make this guy work for you. And either way, he's going to be swinging over for 1 almost all the time.
I mean, Suntail Hawks aren't usually good in limited, but it is obviously, it's not like pushed or anything, but it being a warrior does have significant consequences. So this is one of the first cards that I really wanted to talk about. I was slightly excited for this card, you know. I've always kind of been partial to 1/1 flyers for 1, even though they're not usually good in limited or really constructed. But the fact this guy's a warrior, you play him turn 1, second turn you play your chief, you start swinging in 2, flying, and he's decent. Warriors has other 1-drops for sure, but this guy, if you want to go that route, flying, he'd be like the only flying creature in the Warriors deck. So that is something to think about, definitely. I like this guy. I do like this guy. For what it's worth, you know. Like I said earlier, it's like there was some sort of development meeting where somebody just out of the blue was like, what if we made a 1/1 flyer, but he was a warrior, you know? And everyone was just like, yeah, let's just do that. Sure. They threw him in the set. I think he might be slightly consequential. I don't think he'll be incredible, obviously, but he might do some work. He might do some work at your local F&M in your...
He's a 1/1 flyer for 1.
That's, we've been doing that since Script Sprites, so try it.
It works.
Next thing is channel harm, and this is a lot, you know.
It's a wall of text. So
5 colorless and a white. It's an instant. Prevent all damage that will be dealt to you and permanents you control this turn by sources you don't control. If damage is prevented this way, you may have channel harm deal that much damage to target creature.
This card's rotten.
I've talked more about it, but honestly, it is just kind of...
It speaks for itself as a 6-mana fog that kills a creature.
Thank you. Like, it's removal, sure, and it's fog on the same thing, but even though it's splashable, that 6 mana is very prohibitive for an effect like this, honestly.
Yeah, if you don't have any other source of removal, you can play it in limited, but otherwise I just avoid the whole situation.
I want to say it's good in limited, but I still, this takes up a whole text slot. Like, I'd rather just this be an efficient creature instead of some, like, situational thing where you might kill a guy. I don't know. If it said creature or player, like, it would be the dumbest card ever, but I just...
It's a great defensive commander card. That's probably about it.
If you get, like, Alpha Strike for 70, you know.
That's possible.
That happens in Commander.
You could do stuff like that. So.
Even though in Commander you have 100 card slots, I still don't think it makes the cut.
It still is, it does still feel like a waste.
This seems like one of those really wordy cards they include for people that like redirect damage kind of effects, and it's not for me. I know that much. I don't think it's for you either, to be honest. So let's move on to Citadel Siege. This is the first siege we'll be talking about. Don't particularly think this card is a thing, but let's find out. 2 and 2 white, that's 4 mana if you're counting at home. For an enchantment, when it comes into play, choose Conjure Dragons like all the other sieges. Cons, like all the other sieges, is kind of better than dragons. At the beginning of combat on your turn, the internet will hate me for that. Put 2 +1/+1/+1 counters on target creature you control, and if you pick dragons at the beginning of combat on each opponent's turn, tap target creature that player controls. So, basically, you choose Cons, you get 2 counters on a guy every single turn, which is a bomb in limited. And the Dragon's effect is pretty good in limited too, tapping down their biggest guy every turn. So again, in limited, if you get this, play it, because if you play it, it'll go a long way to you winning the game. But other than maybe the blue one, I don't see these sieges being a thing in standard. Honestly, especially
it's just a limited thing.
Yeah,
it's a limited thing because, in my experience in limited, most people don't really think about enchantments. Like, they're kind of like, oh, an enchantment, I'm just going to put that aside and play this better card right here. And honestly, like, if you threw it out, they're going to go, oh, wait, I didn't think about enchantments. And
this looks like one of those cards that, like, when you play it and it's on the board for a few turns, it starts just getting completely out of control in limited. Like, it's probably really, really good in limited. Again, I'll say that again. It's probably very good. Things that give you a bonus every single turn, especially when it's counters on to make your guys bigger, you know? That's cray. That's crazy.
It's your limited change position like instantly. You can as soon as that's out there, you're probably gonna have 2-3 guys.
Yeah.
I mean, you're
We
gonna.
play this first main step, you go into combat, it immediately, triggers. So, I don't know. Again, limited, yes. Constructed, it's just very slow and just not there. It's just not there. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Let's move on to a guy who might be there. This is the first guy I think might be constructed worthy.
Here we've got Daghatar the Adamant. He's a white and 3 colorless legendary creature, human warrior. Warrior's important.
Legendary.
He is actually going to be, since he's a legendary creature, he's going to be possible for commander, and he's actually Abzan. He's white, green, black. One of his abilities down here, which we'll get to in a second. He comes in, and he's a vigilance 4/4. He's got 4 +1/+1 counters on him.
Important.
His next ability is what makes all that relevant.
Yeah.
For a colorless and 2 Golgari, that's black-green hybrid for those of you at home.
You don't have to be at home. If you're at the office, that's fine too.
Yeah, or wherever. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You could be on the job.
You probably, that's where I watch the majority of my YouTube videos.
Yeah.
But yeah,
For 3 mana total, you can move a +1/+1 counter from target creature to another target creature. This is going to be kind of bonkers and limited right now with the bolster effect going around.
Yeah.
Because that allows you to steal +1/+1 counters from your opponent's creatures and move them to yours.
Bolster.
Or at the same time, maybe you want to move his 4/4, make him a 3/3, and boost something else up to a 2/2 or a 3/3.
That being able to steal counters thing is just like so sick and limited because there's an awful lot of cards that give people +1/+1 counters. Like you have Bolster, there's Outlast, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So like his ability is relevant in limited all day, and it's. I mean, even in constructed, this guy is a 4 mana 4/4 vigilance that does tricks.
Yeah.
So and tricks are important. Tricks are especially little things like this that they kind of look underwhelming, but that is a very important trick during combat to be able to make a guy bigger because your opponent doesn't know how to block that way, because even your 3/3 could just become a 5/5 if you have the 6 mana open, and it's just. This is a thing. I'm not saying that it's definite constructed worthy because I'm actually not totally sure, but it's definitely more of a thing than anything we've looked at so far. Also, I just want to say this. I feel like all of the legends for the tribes in this set, they just put through like a random letter generator. Daghatar.
Yeah.
Like they got Alicia and they're like, that's an actual name. And who would have thought? But yeah, Daghatar, time will tell. Time will tell. I don't think he just slips directly into Abzan the way that deck is being built right now. But he'll probably find a home. We'll see. We'll see. He might go to the Legend Graveyard. Just
Limited.
limited though.
Limited.
Dat limited.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Limited.
You
pull this guy, you play him. So,
yeah, you might even windmill pick this.
I mean, that's it for 4 mana white guys in Khan's block. High Sentinels of Akrasha is a better card than this, but this is like close second, I would say, to 4 mana white guys.
Yeah, this is your rare in limited with like just how to say it, just him and Bolster.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
Bolster. Like
you got a couple of things that bolster this guy. Just he gets great.
You can do that in this set too. Just get him and Bolster.
Let's move on. This we actually have a mini debate about going on. Dragon Bell Monk. This is a 2 and a white for a 2/2 Vigilance Prowess. That's the card.
He's a Dragon Bell Monk.
He is a Dragon Bell Monk. I mean, it'd be hilarious if it was Dragon Bell Monk creature, Dragon Bell Monk. But no, I mean this guy, he's solid. I mean, if you get him in limited, he's probably a thing. I think he's a solid little beater, stays back on defense, and can attack at the same time. Vigilance actually kind of relevant
in limited.
Yeah, it's not really bad in limited at all. You'd be surprised how good Vigilance is. This guy again, he's solid.
Yeah,
It's like a good 23rd card,
He's a common. You can probably pull 2 or 3 of them if you are like me and would love to build with this guy.
Oh yeah, I feel like this guy's pretty good in multiples.
Oh yeah.
You get 2 of them out there and you just start browsing them, and he's fine.
Yeah.
He's fine. So, and what's cool too is you can swing in with Vigilance and not tap him, and then you kind of have the option of do I use my combat tricks, on attacks, or do I hang him back and block and use combat tricks then?
Yeah.
Because he'll always get the prowess,
One way or the other.
one way or the other. So there's kind of a cool push-pull to this guy.
He's
that I
gonna
do
be
like.
good on offense and defense. You'll probably be able to pull 2 of them, and
Likely.
he's got all
Especially if
the
you're
tricks.
playing draft, I feel like this guy will get passed to you.
Yeah.
So, if no one's playing that strategy.
Yeah, which honestly, if you're not playing some prowess, and
Well,
you need to get out of this
in-
block and go back to Theros.
Whatever, in white limited, this block.
Yeah.
In white limited, I think more people are going to be looking at like Outlast and Bolster and Abzan strategies and such. This guy goes into just guy limited, but I feel like I said, he's going to get passed because a lot of people want to play Abzan, especially like the way Bolster and Outlast works together. So these white guys are going to probably get passed to you in favor of other guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
and, like the potential to I really want to just give him reach. I want to just
Reach.
give him reach. I just want to give him reach.
I want there to be another ability on
No,
this
not
card.
on him. I just mean I play white green and you just
Oh, yeah.
just give him reach and
Be
then you
cool.
can fight dragons with him. Fight him.
Right. He should be able to fight dragons.
Yeah.
That's true. I just ring the bell, man.
I just mean
Then I'll run. He does look badass though.
he does.
He's stoic. He's been ready to
That
ring
one
that
Yeah,
bell.
the
behind
flavor
him.
of this
Years.
card is wonderful.
Yeah, the flavor's out of control.
Cool guy
That's
standing in front of waterfalls.
Vigilance. I don't know where he got the prowess from. He's like, you guys cast a spell? All right, I'm feeling that. That's like all he does. Let's move on to another card that I'm probably way more excited about this card than I should be. It looks like such a
Dragon-
trap.
Yeah, Dragon Scale General, add a white and 3 colorless as a 2/3.
A little low.
A little low. He's gonna die to that red.
He died all kinds of
And
stuff.
yeah, he's gonna die all the time.
He's gonna die constantly.
He's gonna die all the time.
I mean,
Probably.
people like 3-mana 2/3s, but like when it comes to a 4-mana 2/3, people are like, "This is terrible," and it
Yeah.
is because the fourth turn is a whole different story than third turn. So,
If anything, it's gonna make you a lot of mana.
you too, bless Tony.
Thank you.
Both players or all players.
At the same time, I love his effect. If you could build an aggro deck for this guy, I think it's great.
I know, right?
At the beginning of your end step, bolster X, where X is the number of tapped creatures you control. So potentially, yeah, this guy could be good, and there could be a couple other guys with him that could be
Yeah.
great.
It's worth pointing out he's a warrior, so that's
Yeah.
somewhat relevant. He just seems like he could get out of hand like so fast. Like if he's able to stick around for just 2 turns,
Yeah.
and like they can kill him after that. It's totally fine. You got your couple of bolster triggers, and
Yeah,
white
because he doesn't
aggro-
have to attack or anything.
Yeah,
All he has
he
to
can
do
hang out. He's like
is-
he reminds me of Micaeus
Mm.
in some ways. The guy in
Yeah.
white aggro that stands back and just administers counters to everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really like Micaeus.
At the same time, he will be blocking all the manifests your opponents throw at you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he blocks morphs and manifests. So that is a relevant point. Anything with 3 toughness in this format is going to be somewhat desirable for just that reason.
Yeah, so in limited, sure, but I just don't see it in standard.
Commander, yes.
Commander.
The shit out of that.
Yeah,
Really?
I think Commander stuff sticks out on the board for longer in Commander on average. So-
Yeah, okay. I just don't see that you'll
But-
be getting that great of a bolster trigger off of it all the time.
Where X is the number of tapped creatures you control. You set this thing's out there, right? You just had a turn and you swung with 20 creatures. You can do that, Commander.
Commander
Happens a lot.
tokens and stuff.
Happens a lot.
Yeah.
You just swung with 20 creatures. Now you can do that for 20.
Bolster 20.
What?
I mean, no. Theoretically, it wouldn't. It's very realistic in Commander to bolster 6.
Yeah.
Like, it's entirely possible.
Okay.
Again, that being said, here's a caveat. I don't know that he makes it in Commander. It all depends.
It's gonna be a little mix up in Commander, but not too much.
But I do. Something is telling me this guy's good. He's prohibitively costed. I'll say that. 4 mana is a little more than I'd want to pay for this guy. But if he was 3 mana, he would be just completely dumb. So I understand the casting cost. I understand the PT ratio, but
You described it the best way you can possibly can. It can become a problem.
Yeah.
Like that's
you let this guy stick around, you're gonna have a bad time.
he's a problem.
Yeah.
So most people are just going to kill him.
So
Yeah,
think
that's the
about
thing is
that
he's a
when you
huge
decide
target,
Whether
you know.
you're going to play it or whether or not you're going to
Yeah.
play against it.
So
God's willing.
we can move on. Yeah,
God's willing.
God's willing. We're gonna say God's willing a few times.
Go straight with this card too.
The Dragon Ball Monk, God's willing.
Yeah.
But let's move on, I think, to Elite Scale Guard. Now, talking about limited cards. This is a limited card. This is 4 and a white, 5 mana for a 2/3. So 4 mana for a 2/3 is bad. 5 mana for a 2/3 is pretty awful. When Elite Scale Guard enters the battlefield, bolster 2. So that's a thing. Whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it attacks, tap target creature defending player controls. Now that is the good ability on this card. This is the Alpha Strike card. The Outlast bolster deck thing really wants this card. It's kind of a finisher. Honestly, it just allows you to Alpha Strike them and win the game. Like you could do that the turn that he comes out.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because it'll do it for each creature you do.
Yeah.
So potentially that's a 5 mana win condition.
Yeah, I can see this being a win in limited. Absolutely.
You like this in aggro?
Yeah.
You want to play some
It's
aggro limited? Oh yeah.
It's a really balmy ability that has an effect like right when it hits the board, and
And on top
not
of
only that,
like,
literally right when it hits the board and in your first combat.
Yeah.
I mean, this once he's out, this guy's good. This guy is a thing.
Yeah, if you play him by himself, he's going to be a 4/5 instead of a 2/3, and he's going to be able to
to tap a guy.
Yeah, so that's really great by itself. And then if you're able to play him with a bunch of other guys, maybe you've already done some bolstering. So 3 toughness happens to be the lowest one, and he still comes out as a 4/5.
It's realistic to swing with 3 guys. I mean, even if you only have 2 guys on the board in limited, I mean, you're tapping their 2 best guys down. Not to mention that you'll have a couple of big creatures, because this guy is a big ass, 3 ass, and he bolsters 2 when he comes in. So, I mean, you tap down their 2 biggest guys, and you'll have very favorable combat situations, I would say.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I like him because he's just got a lot of flavor.
Yeah, he does.
He's got a lot of
he
flavor.
keeps going,
Yeah.
you know, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, both abilities, the enter the battlefield trigger, and the whenever a creature control attacks, they're just both very good abilities.
So as a final note before we move on, Elite Scale Guard, Elite Uncommon.
Yeah, pretty good uncommon. If you get him in limited, you should probably play that guy.
Yeah.
Let's go on to the polar opposite of that, which is Great Horn Krushuk. The crew was shocked when they saw this card. It's 4 and a white for a 3/5, and that's the card. So
Moving on.
that's the whole card. I think we can move on. There's a card like this in every single set. They're usually actually somewhat playable in limited, so give it a shot. If you have, this is a good 23rd card. We call it.
It's a good starter piece for your battleship if you want to go aura route.
Yeah, if you want to do that, I mean, it's a good.
Aside from that,
We're talking about this earlier. It's a pillar field box, but you pay 1 more mana, you get 1 more PT. So it's not a thing, but if you are lacking in your pool, this is a fine 23rd card. It is. Moving on to, I'll give it to Tony.
moving on to Honor's Reward. That's an instant where you gain 4 life and bolster 2 for a white and 2 colorless.
We talked about this card.
Yeah, we had another little mini debate about whether or not this card is good.
I kind of got them to swing my way in this debate a little bit, just because of this wording.
I'm starting to see the light.
In limited, for a white and 2 colorless at instant speed, so it's a combat trick, you get to bolster 2, strengthen one of your guys that you're blocking or attacking with, and if you're blocking, which is probably when you do this. I really like this in conjunction with Dragon Bell Monk, like 4th turn, being able to block this and whatnot. You're going to bolster 2, so...
It's actually a pretty hot play.
Yeah, in that case, for example, with this, you bolster 2 on him, prowess, so he becomes a 5/5 with vigilance, and you gain 4 life. So if they're swinging with, say, 2 decent creatures, you've got a 5/5 to block with, and you're still preventing 4 damage that they would deal to.
They would otherwise.
So in other words, you just kind of time walk them in limited.
I even like this like on attacks. There's so many times where you swing with like a 3/3, a 2/3, and a 1/1. You know what I mean? They're gonna kill the 1/1 with something. So that's a really good combat trick there. You kill one of their guys, your little guy survives and becomes big for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
So I like this on attacks and blocks. Actually, this is a fair combat trick. What I was saying earlier is what to remember in Favor Forge Limited is that you get 2 packs of Favor Forge and then a pack of cons. So if you don't get some of the better combat tricks that are in cons, and like all the good combat tricks are in cons, white and red, mostly in white.
Yeah.
So like if you don't get the thing that's like 1 and a white for an instant, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, and do something else. That one, I don't know why I forgot what that card does, but it's really, really good. If you don't get some of the better combat tricks, this is definitely still a very, viable combat trick. So, on his reward, I'm starting to come around. Because honestly, just gaining life is bad.
Yeah.
But added abilities onto that makes it a lot better.
Yeah.
Especially at instant speed. This card's fun.
But in Modern and Commander, adding life is great.
Uh,
If you've got some life effects and abilities, you want to play this.
I don't know about
Maybe.
modern. Yeah.
We're
I
talking
just
about
feel like
Angelic Accord, though.
yeah, that's true.
Angelic Accord.
Angelic Accord. Combo this with Angelic Accord. It's really good. I love Angelic Accord.
It's great.
I really
we
wanted
gotta
that
get
card
off
to
that
work.
card.
Yeah, I know. We talk about that card too much to take ourselves seriously.
Wanted to be
Yeah.
a thing, but it's not a thing. It's kind of it's a.
I wanted to be a thing for 2 years.
Yeah.
So,
But moving on,
yeah.
we've got Jeskai Barricade for a white and a colorless. It's a 0/4 with flash, and it's a defender, so the bolster won't matter too much with it anyways. But
Like a 2/6. That's fine.
yeah, 2/6 would be cool, but it's defender, so I'm kind of hoping it doesn't get hit with it. But that's not
Yeah.
really.
It won't get hit with bolster because it's got a high toughness.
Yeah. The really relevant factor here is the effect to bounce a creature you control back to your hand. We'll get to it later in the set, and I'll mention this again, but there's a card later on that's going to combo with Limited, and you're going to like it. It's going to work.
It's going to be really cute. Yeah. This card is probably, like, for fun reasons, one of our most loved cards of the set, honestly. Like, it's such good design. Like, overall, I love creatures with flash. We were talking about that earlier. And being able to pop something back to your hand to save it or to get another enter the battlefield trigger, like, this card is fun. This card is fun.
And I will actually go one step further, going back to Dagatar, being able to take +1/+1 counters off of him, lowering his power toughness, and then being able to bounce
Pop him
him
back.
and replay him
That's
is
fair.
a play that most people aren't expecting or going to see
Yeah.
coming. Unless you
Especially,
see
like,
this
during combat, you know?
Yeah, like...
If you have the mana for it, like, that would be so silly.
Yeah, like spend 5
Dagatar
minutes...
my combos to my counters to these other guys and then flash this dude in and bring it. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, like 5 mana to, like, throw a counter over to one guy that you want to block with, and then throw this guy out there and take him back out.
That is up smash.
Yeah.
Up
That is
smash.
up smash all day. Up smash.
Hopefully, you'll see another video about that.
Yeah, hashtag up smash. Moving on, let's go for our first manifest enchantment. These are good and limited, by the way. Light Form. This is 1 and 2 white for an enchantment. When it comes in when it enters the battlefield, I was going to go with comes into play. It becomes an aura with enchant creature. Manifest the top card of your library and attach Light Form to it. Enchanted creature has flying and lifelink. So that's a lot of text. Basically, all that happens, you play this card, manifest the top card of your library, and that card has flying and lifelink. It's a 2/2. So you got a 2/2 flying lifelink for 3 mana, which is good. It's quite good, actually. Limited, that's very good.
Yeah.
Traditionally, we call them Windrakes, 3 mana, 2/2 flyers, and you're basically doing the same thing, only you've got an extremely relevant ability in lifelink. So this card is good. Not to mention you can flip up the creature and have, like a 4/5
Yeah.
flying lifelink.
Yeah, potentially, depending on what card gets manifested. If it's a creature, you can pay its converted mana cost and then flip it right side up.
Yeah, I love all the little tricks too with flipping cards up that don't normally have more. Like what was it, Elite Scale Guard a couple turns ago?
Yeah.
They're like, if you flip him up and they don't know you have him, he's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
You'll flip him up, you'll have flying and lifelink. All your guys will attack and they'll tap their dudes. Like you can dudes that don't have morph but do have enter the battlefield triggers or win stuff attacks triggers is really really good to flip up. It's awesome to flip up. So. All of these are good, but I'd say the blue and the white ones are cut above the rest.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, if you're playing limited and you get this, you're stupid if you don't.
If you don't play this
Yeah.
card, you should probably quit.
Yeah,
It
just unless
pretty
you
much
get-
says you're going to be top tier.
Unless you just get nothing else in white
Yeah.
that is anywhere near playable, which is going to be hard because white's actually kind of a strong color.
White is a very strong limited color in this set.
Yeah.
It looks like they spent a lot of time on it.
I think it looks like limited. They spend a lot more time recently on limited than they usually do, or than
Yeah.
they used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, this upcoming pre-release is going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
Moving on though, we get Lotus Eye Mystics
Boo.
at a white and 3 colorless, so 4 mana for a 3/2 with prowess, and when he enters the battlefield, you can return target enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand. So he kind of replaces himself, but unless you're going with a heavy aura or enchantment route,
Yeah.
it's just not a very relevant effect.
Like,
Prowess can be relevant, but even then, like, 4/3 at 4 power for 4 mana.
4/3 for 4 is
It's-
like that's
It's
fine.
okay. It's
I just-
acceptable. It's
I don't want to do the work to get the 4/3.
yeah.
I don't. This guy's a little underwhelming, honestly. I want him to be better than he is. Bringing stuff back from the graveyard to your hand is always good.
Yeah.
But how many creatures can you print that like do Heliod's Pilgrim stuff? You know what I mean? Like you can't. If you're gonna make that deck, you can only have a couple of these like janky kind of creatures in it. It just doesn't seem like it goes far enough. And I want this card to be so much better than it is. But I'm trying to be realistic. I don't think this card's
I
very
feel like
good.
I feel like it's a card they put in there to kind of make you want to try and play auras. And
Yeah, it's
and
aura
just-
bait. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just not. Like, there's not enough right now
Yeah.
in there.
I mean, if you get the like light form, if you're able to get a light form back with it, that's
Yeah.
fine. You know.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. But
It's a little situational, and the only way that enchantments go to the graveyard is if they kill one of your guys. And I don't know. I don't think it's quite there. There's not much they could do to make it there. Like if it was a 3/4, I could maybe see that'd be great. But 2 toughness, don't fall for the 2 toughness creature trap. I understand this guy has prowess, but you're not guaranteed to have a non-creature spell. You just play during combat, so
Yeah, without a guaranteed combat trick,
Yeah.
you can't actually see prowess as a relevant ability.
yeah. Like
so,
I like prowess. I think it's a good ability. It's just it's so dependent on more things and.
you
More
might see
investment.
a standard deck with this in there.
You think if enchantments become that big of a thing?
Yeah, like we'll see like the other colors, but I mean,
The thing is,
Ah.
what we were talking about earlier.
well,
like,
actually, I just thought about this. With all the delve and everything
Yeah.
else, what is it? It's Sultai Reanimator, I want to say.
Just
They
about
might want
Reanimator.
this because if they happen to.
well, that doesn't even play white. Sultai. It's just bug.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Never mind.
yeah.
I'm thinking junk. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I think that junk might actually. I think that maybe we'll start seeing the other shards do stuff in this set. You know?
Yeah, because if you're playing junk and you go Reanimator like you probably should in this current format right now.
Yeah, you probably should. I mean, you got
Yeah.
whip, but God, whip. Whip
I
is
mean-
not as impressive as it used to be.
Oh.
you still love it.
I know you
Yeah,
love, you
I
love
love
whip.
whip.
I love the
This
whip.
is the guy that loves the whip.
I love the whip as well.
But I just
Whip it good.
Cracked 2 of those in my deck. Yeah, I did that.
like I've played whip in a lot of decks, and every time I play, I'm just like,
Well, if you
"Ah."
happen to lose
fun
your
at
whip
first.
to the graveyard, you can get it back this way,
Right.
and that is a huge way to recover a
That
tool
is
that
true.
you have a limited access
Like
to.
any of the god enchantments, you know, if you happen to lose your spear somehow in mono white, like that's fine. We probably talked too much about this guy. I don't think he's there.
Because I said he might be in a standard. You might
Yeah.
see him in a standard.
On a side note, all the Lotus Eye something cards, I want them to be really awesome because that's a kick-ass name, and they wear like the bandanas where they can see through their third eye, and it's so awesome. But they all have underwhelming abilities.
Yeah, they're.
Let's talk about a good card. Let's talk about
yeah.
3 good cards in a row, actually.
Oh yeah.
Huh. Who wants this
I'm
one?
still on the fence on one of them.
Mardu Woe Reaper, 1 white.
He reaps
1
woe.
white. Yeah, I'm sorry. Whenever Mardu Woe Reaper or another warrior enters the battlefield under your control, you may exile target creature card from a graveyard. If you do, you gain 1 life. It's a 2/1.
And it's a warrior,
It's a warrior.
which is huge, it turns out. Just Warriors really, really wanted this 2-power 1-drop, and they finally got it, and his second ability, like his actual ability, is very relevant, you know? We were talking about earlier how, like, this doesn't actually hit Jeskai that hard.
Yeah, but
because-
it does still hit some.
It's
little
whip
thing.
decks, we're just talking about whip decks.
Yeah,
It
it'll
hits
hit
those
whip
pretty
decks,
good.
and not only that, there's some decks that are going to be coming out after this set releases
Yeah.
that may change things a little bit. Maybe
Yeah.
we will see more reasons for creatures in the graveyard, so we'll get to that
Maybe.
when we see our black set review.
Yeah, true.
In the meantime, we're going to cut this card a little short and move on to Mastery of the
Yeah,
Unseen.
but this card is relevant and very good.
Oh,
Play-
yeah, yeah.
Marty Rover. First of all, if you get it in limited, play it. So it's usually you don't play 1-drops in limited, but 2-power 1-drops are fine because they trade with pretty much everything your opponent can play on the second turn. So
Yeah.
Limited, you want to pick anything that's like this. It has an ability. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter really.
this
As
thing
long
is
as
literally no downside to this card. Pick it
Yeah,
and
it's-
play it and construct it in your Warriors deck with the Chiefs because this card's good.
Yeah,
Card's good.
and
you're
yes,
going to love it.
he is one of your 1-drops in Commander. I'm sorry, he is.
Commander.
Yes, he is.
Well, yeah, because there's a lot of reanimation
You can
strategies.
just basically take all of their tricks away. Like,
Yeah.
because most people play
He's
in the
neat.
graveyard.
We were talking earlier, reminds me of Soldier of the Pantheon, and that's a really good card. So, But anyway,
moving on, we got Mastery of the Unseen. And
he's on the fence about this.
I'm really on the fence about this, but when I talk about it, you're going to think I'm in love with it.
It's amazing.
So for 2 mana, it's an enchantment. It's a white and 1 enchantment.
You can tell I'm in love with it.
Whenever a permanent you control is turned face up, so for all you Morph and Manifest players, where you're going to fall in love with this, you gain 1 life for each creature you control. So whenever you morph something up, face up, 1 life for each creature you control.
You gain like 12 life, son. Not really, that's, yeah. You'll gain like 3 life.
Now, his other ability is what makes him his other ability, like his creature. It's an enchantment, it's just going to sit there
His
and
only
die
ability.
The other ability here that actually makes this worth playing in Limited is 3 colorless and a white for Manifest the top card of your library. This gives you an army of 2/2s, some of which you can flip up to have your more bomby creatures,
like crazy
enter the
surprise
battlefield,
attacks.
effects and things like that. Aside from that, though, the Jeskai Barricade that we mentioned earlier, this is the card that I've found sort of a sweet combo that I want to test play.
It's just a cool little bit of synergy, you know? I think it's more just synergy than anything.
Yeah, when you manifest anything, Jeskai Barricade's enter the battlefield effect will let you return a creature you control to its owner's hand.
See where we're going with
So
this.
you can pick up that 2/2 that you just manifested if it's some instant or sorcery or enchantment or something that you really
Something you need.
So, and being able to do that as a combat trick, and you know, this will probably be happening very late game at this point, so you'll probably have mana to pay for the 2 to pick it up and pop it back, and then be able to throw out a combat trick or whatever you need to do to get through.
Yeah, just the fact that in Limited, this is, you get a token every turn no matter what. Right? No matter what you draw, you get a guy. So, it's very, very good in Limited.
It's a huge mana sink.
It's a mana
so when you
sink,
have
it makes
nothing else to do,
guys. This is the thing. If you get this in Limited, play it and you thank us. Because it's, I don't know what, a lot of people are like cold on this card a little bit, but this card, especially in Limited, is dad ass.
Yeah. Another important thing to note is it's also really sweet and going to do a lot of work for you on defense as well, because you can use this ability as an instant. So when they swing in with their big guy, if you don't have anything out there to chump block them with, you can just manifest a card and say, all right, there you go. Give me my turn, let me draw a card, and let me see what I can do to beat your butt.
This is maybe also like a combo piece. Like people might start making more for manifest decks, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I would love to see somebody like manifest like Rattleclaw Mystic or something with this.
Yeah, that's another thing is if you get a creature with morph whose morph cost is higher than its mana cost, then now it's not anymore. It's you know, its morph cost is somewhat desirable. You know?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of little tricks you can do with mastery, and it combos really well with like something in
with manifest.
It's a card in M15, I think. It's like 1 in a green and it does stuff. But people have been talking a little bit about this card on the brew circuit, and people are trying to do stuff with it, but it looks like one of those that's going to remain a strictly casual kind of deck, you know. Kind of reminds you of like the Sacred Mesa and those sort of token generating enchantments. And, you know, I don't think it's not going to kill in Standard, but it might be a thing in Standard. It might.
Maybe this is why they put Lotus Eye in this set.
Because Mastery of the Unseen.
Maybe they want you to keep
that
trying to go get that.
That is good soup. That's good flavor. I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah, they just want you to go get your Mastery of the Unseen.
Oh, we should have started talking about this card. This is one of my favorite cards in the entire set, like, by a lot. This is probably top 3 for me. Monastery Mentor is a 3 mana that's 2 and a white. 2/2, prowess. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, whenever you prowess, put a 1/1 white monk creature token with prowess onto the battlefield. So this guy is like Young Pyromancer and Monastery Swiftspear kind of rolled into one. Even the mana costs rolled into one kind of. And like this guy's so dumb. This guy is so hilariously dumb. And like.
So for starters, here's the problem with this card. They didn't make it legendary, so you can have multiple
You just have
copies.
a million.
So
like if you have multiple copies, it's so stupid.
Yeah, if you ever get 2 of these on the field at the same time,
your opponent will
one trick. Probably, honestly, because
they don't have in-hostilities. It's just game. It's game. It's game. Because like we were talking earlier about like the red-white sort of aggro deck that's got Burn and God's Willing and stuff, and this guy He slips
He
right
slips
in there. Those are comfortable shoes for Monastery Mentor.
Yeah.
Those are slippers.
So he's probably going to become a standard staple.
Possibly, I mean, the sort of red-white Mac decks that we've seen could really use this guy. He goes very well. What we were saying earlier is that I don't know if he replaces Manus Rider in the 3 slot in Jeskai aggro, but red-white, that red-white with Swift Spear and Seeker of the Way, you know, he's just, he goes so well. I really, really want to play this guy and see how far he goes.
I seriously want to make tokens for Goblin Rabble Master.
Rabble Master. I'm not, God, if you
uh,
play this guy and Rabble Master and red-white, it's just
and
tokens.
This guy, Rabble Master, Brimaz, and Hordling Outburst, and just shoot me in the face.
I just like if you can make like one token with him, he's super relevant because
Yeah.
you make one token and the next turn you untap and you, I don't know, lightning strike something. He's got 3 to the dome, plus prowess on this guy, plus prowess on the guy that he created last turn, plus you get another guy, and it's just like the value on this dude is never ending, never ending.
Well, that and like, well, it does. I mean, it does puff out at you know the 3rd guy, but that's fine because hopefully he would have done something by then.
Yeah, that's the thing is if you untap with this guy and you have cards in your hand, it's just they're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah.
it's not gonna be good, and they're gonna be so worried. You know, if you have 3 cards in your hand and you untap with this guy out, like anything can happen. Who knows? You know.
What I think is going to be hilarious, though, is when some smart-ass control player like me decides to build a control
Oh, this is a
format with
hilarious
tokens
control finisher.
and just go
Yeah.
ape shit with
I
this.
mean, people
'cause
hold, like-
I could do it.
People used to hold 7 mana up for Aetherling, and they hold 6 mana up for Elspeth, you know,
Yeah.
as a control kill. You hold 6 mana up to play this guy and protect him. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
This guy's really good in control.
All of a sudden, I get like,
Every spell you counter is a 1/1 guy with pros. Like,
Yeah.
That's silly. It's so silly. So, anything else on Monster Event?
No, I don't even like it. I don't like it.
What are you talking about? You don't like
Because
this?
it's just too easy. It's just too easy.
Really?
It is. It
Really?
It's like it's not legendary. It's just a creature. It's 2/2.
It's just
it's
too
3
pushed.
mana. I'm gonna be the hater. I'm gonna be that guy.
I mean, at the
I'm
same
gonna hate
time, well, don't hate it too much, because at the same time, you said it yourself, it is just 2/2, it's going to die to Magma Jet, and all
It's a
the
giant
Yeah,
target.
it'll-
It's a giant target.
We're just talking about how 2 toughness is like terrible in this
But
format.
don't worry,
so-
when we get to the red set review, we're going to talk about a card that makes this guy relevant along with any 2 power guy you control.
This guy makes this guy relevant.
This is true,
It's
but
ridiculous.
he makes it even more relevant.
Let's go to a card that we all like.
Yay! I'll take it. Pressure Point is a white McCullus for an instant, tap target creature and draw a card. It's a 2 mana cantrip that's going to get your guy through and replace itself, and play it.
Yeah, don't just count this guy out and be like, this thing is stupid, because like people are already using Defiant Strike, which is 1 mana, draw a card, guy gets +1/+2 till end turn. And this thing slips really well into sort of the God's Willing Defiant Strike deck. Like, this guy goes really good with Monastery Mentor, you know? This is a fine card. This is a fine card. I don't know that it will get a 4 deck slot in something, you know, in like mono white aggro or something, maybe red white. But it's definitely better than it looks. This is one of those cards that's better than it's underwhelming when you read it. This is a fine card. This is a fine card.
Moving on, we have a not so fine card.
Yeah.
Rally the
Ancestors.
2 white and an X, instant speed. So you know, usually we'd be in favor of some instant X speed spells. They're usually pretty good, but
You want me to read it out?
go for
Do
it.
it.
Okay. Return each creature card with converted mana cost X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Exile those creatures at the beginning of your next upkeep. Exile Rally the Ancestor.
So the very first thing you think, obviously, is I can block things with this. I mean, that's sort of the obvious application. I think there might be some sort of combo deck that uses efficiently costed creatures with decent enter the battlefield abilities, you know, to make this pop off somehow. Because if you can get value out of like enter the battlefield triggers or something, this is fine.
I mean,
it's so much work. It's so much work.
Maybe, well, 7 mana is a lot to do this, but potentially, like, maybe you've got 3 or 4 great merchants in your graveyard.
Great merchants.
I mean, I'm sorry, that's literally like
That
the
is hilarious.
best
Actually.
enter the battlefield effect card I could think of.
I can
to
think
do this
that
with.
might be the best one I can think of off the top of my head.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's Siege Rhino, and that would be what six?
Siege
Well,
Rhino's
actually,
good.
yeah, duh, 6 mana for like bring back 2 or 3 Siege Rhinos for a turn, just for an inner
But, like,
battlefield effect of.
you have to have 3
drain
siege
fleet.
runners in your graveyard. Like that's
Hey, if the match is gone that bad,
if they managed to do like 3 of your siege rhinos, this would be like the ultimate like smack in the face.
yeah,
But,
like I don't know what
That's
else to do.
still-
Just boom. I'm not saying it's good.
man.
I'm not saying it's going to get used for that. I'm just saying that's the only thing I could come up with for this.
yeah, like I'm sure people brew with this card. This is a brewable card, but I'm not seeing it. Every time they print a card like this, people are like ooh for a few weeks, and
If
then
it
nothing
gave-
happens with it.
Yeah, if it gave them haste and they could attack right
that
away,
would be silly.
or use their tap abilities and things like that, then sure, no problem. I would be on this card's ass like white on rice.
There's a reason there's a giant.
White because it's
white. Hey.
the card that is also white.
Well, there's a reason there's a giant sandcastle in the background. This card is a wall. It's a one-time wall.
Yeah, just a one time.
Yeah.
Well, you could blow them out combat-wise, you know, but the more you want to actually kill their guys in combat with this card, the more mana you have to pay, and it's just...
Well, actually,
Yeah.
hey, since it's at the beginning of your upkeep, I just broke that guy that does it at your instat for all the tap creatures you control.
yeah.
Well,
Good
no, 'cause that doesn't
synergies.
tap
I mean,
them. Never mind.
No, it's still decent synergies. But I just... This card, I'm going to go ahead and say it, I think this card is kind of bad.
Yeah.
All things considered. People are not freaking out about it, people are talking about it, and I don't see it. Maybe somebody else will do it.
But moving on, we gotta
Yeah.
gotta keep it tight.
Yep.
We got Sage's Riviere.
Whoa, it's Reverie.
Reverie. Oops.
Sage's Reverie. I like this card.
Pardon my
Wow,
English.
that's
It's
Some of
so
them
bad
are-
it shook the camera.
Ah.
For a white and 3 colorless, it's an enchantment aura. Enchant creature. Enters the battlefield, draw a card for each aura you control that's attached to a creature. So you're gonna draw at least one.
At least one.
And
Yeah.
realistically, possibly 2 or 3 if you play your cards
Yeah, I
right.
think on the top end you'll draw 3
Yeah.
with this, you know?
Possibly 4, but more than likely 3.
Yeah, I would say 4 would be really nice, but you can't
Yeah,
you can't plan for that.
That's Christmas Wonderland.
Yeah, I would really say you kind of want to plan for drawing 2 with this. I think this is a good card, but I really like enchantment strategies, you know? I like Enchantress and all that. Like when Invisible Stalker was in, I really like that card.
Invisible Stalker.
Yeah,
Who
Invisible
were you
Stalker's so
telling? I went to and did Cypher in Invisible Stalker. Remember?
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing that swings like 6 life to lose 3 and gain 3. That
Yeah, Shadow
like
Slice.
that was a fun deck.
I felt the end of that.
Couple
that
times.
sword, yeah, for a while there.
Yeah, when you actually manage to stick one of those on an Invisible Stalker, it's pretty silly. It is.
Yeah, for the
You
record
can
now,
stick 2 of them
Cypher,
off.
Extort, and Invisible Stalker, cute little trick. Doesn't win tournaments, but you can have fun at F&Ms.
Yeah. You have fun at your house or whatever. And F&M, yeah, it's a good F&M strat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah. I like Sage's Reverie, let me just say.
Yeah.
Sandblast is 2 and a white for an instant speed. That's not bad. Sandblast deals 5 damage to an attacking or blocking creature. Now,
It's white removal.
it's white removal in limited. Play
Yeah.
in limited. Play this card in limited. It's
Yeah.
good. It's fine. This is removal.
Yeah.
So it's not going to see standard. Obviously, it's obviously if you open it in a pack, play it limited. That's the purpose of this card.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Moving on. I think this next card is better than it looks.
I think that Sandblast could be a sideboard standard card, though. So
Really.
we have Siege Rhino to worry about.
We also have what is it? Devouring Light.
I mean,
Which is
don't
like
get me
1
wrong,
and 2 white and has Convoke, and it's I think it's just destroy target attacking or blocking creature. And so it's just a strictly better card. So
Well, there we go. Strictly better.
strictly better.
I retract my previous statement.
Sandstep Outcast is I like this card. 2 and a white for a 2/1, and it's a warrior. When it enters the battlefield, you choose one. Put a +1/+1 counter on it, making it a 3/2 for 3 mana, and it's a warrior. Or put a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying on the battlefield. So, I think that this is fine. I think for 3 mana in standard, there are probably better warrior options. but 3 power, 3 mana is fine.
Mm.
And if you're
Okay.
worried about it not getting through the line, you can always get the 1/1 flyer.
Exactly.
And I think this card is fine. I really do. I think this card is a little bit better than it looks when you first read it.
Yeah,
Yeah, so-
by all means, I completely agree. I think this is actually a wonderful card because it has a choice to it.
Yeah, choice cards are good. It's good.
Choice cards are optional cards like cards with options like that. Are really going to teach some of the newer players
Yeah.
the big difference with Magic and any other card game.
I feel like that's even like what this card is actually for.
Yeah.
Because in limited, you're going to want to make it a 3/2, which is a trap.
Yeah.
Because that's don't.
In limited, play this card as a 3 mana, 2/1 and 1/1 combo.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's almost always better to get 2 smaller creatures than 1 large creature.
Yeah.
Not to mention one of the creatures has evasion, which is fantastic and limited, and you still get the same power for the same mana. So if you choose the first ability, you get 3 power, 3 mana.
It's
Second ability, same thing, 3 mana, 3 power. So
it's so much better to have it split up between 2 because if they get rid of one, you still got the other.
The
Not
only-
only that, but that 1/1 flyer is going to be a bigger target
yeah,
because it
1/1
has the
flyers are-
flying.
they're a thing, man.
Yeah.
Bolster's going to be a thing in limited.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the
think
other
about that.
thing.
With Sandstep Outcast, if you choose that second ability, that 1/1 flyer is going to get the bolster trigger like almost every time.
So you want to always
So-
pick the one.
Yeah, because you get to choose between the ones that have the.
Least toughness.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
so
always
Oh,
if there's a
gonna
bunch
pick
of
a 1/1
1/1s,
flyer.
you get to pick.
1/1 flyer, especially in limited, is definitely the better option.
Even
Yeah.
in standard, I'm still going to pick a 1/1
The
flyer.
only reason I would say standard maybe pick the first option is because it's a warrior and it'll get bonuses.
Oh yeah.
So for 3 mana, you want a 3 power guy. It's really, really well on curve
Yeah.
for warriors. So I might pick the first option sometimes in standard, but even in standard, I mean, there's plenty of times like against other aggro decks, maybe you want to get the flyer.
Yeah, so you just have that 1/1 flyer, or with the new Chandra's Phoenix that's coming out.
Phoenix.
Yeah, that Flame Wake Phoenix.
Yeah, we'll get to Phoenix, dude. Phoenix is a
Oh.
beast.
But you're gonna want this, or you would want that 1/1 flyer to jump block it all
Anyway,
day.
Moving on, we're almost through with white. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Soul Summons. You wanna take this one?
Soul Summons, 1 colorless and a white. It's a sorcery. Manifest the top card of your library.
And that's it.
That's what
It's
it
a
does.
card. This
it's
is
a
actually
2/2 for 2.
yeah, this is a fine card. It's a bear. It's a bear that you might be able to flip back up. That's
Might be able to flip back up. If not, if nothing else, it's probably getting rid of a land.
hopefully.
Yeah,
Hopefully
you're
that's
hoping
what
to
you're
just
trying
get
to
rid
do.
of a land.
You
Or
know.
some card that would be dead in the
Depends.
matchup.
I mean, you
or something
want
like
to play this second turn. You want this to be your bear, But I mean, this I think is more the card just to sort of introduce the most basic level of manifest. You know. I mean, but it's a fine card. I think it's okay. This is one of those that if you have 23 cards that are better than this card, definitely play those. But this will always at least be a vanilla 2/2, and that's
Yeah,
It's-
if you just needed a 2-drop slot.
I mean.
It's another bolster trigger.
Not to mention, we haven't, at least in the common slot and the uncommon slot, we haven't seen a whole lot of 2 mana cards that are creatures. It kind of starts at 3 mana for white, at least. So, Soul Summons is probably good if you're looking for an early creature, and who
And
knows?
At the same time, prowess is a thing right now in the format, and this does not count as a creature spell and gives you a creature.
Yeah,
so,
that's actually not a terrible point. That this does fuel prowess. So.
Yeah.
Now, I want John actually to read the next card because
I was thinking about it too.
Have you read this card yet?
Yeah, I was just
okay.
reading it.
This is a,
Soulfire Grandmaster, 1 colorless and a white.
we're all just so
It's just-
giddy.
It is just a creature. It's just a creature. It's just a monk. It's just some dude. It has lifelink as a 2/2, but instant and sorcery spells you control have lifelink. You're thinking, what?
But wait,
What?
Wait,
Why?
there's more.
What?
So
Okay.
all your burn decks just became life drain decks.
Like does this okay? Oh, first of all, read the last ability.
Okay,
yeah.
Then I'll ask the question.
2 colorless and then red-blue hybrid for 2 red-blue hybrid. The next time you cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand this turn, put that card into your hand instead of into your graveyard as it resolves.
Yeah. So
In other words, they brought back buyback and gave it to us on a stick.
kind of yeah.
For
in
4
some
mana,
ways.
Jeskai colors, which Jeskai should eat this thing up.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Like, is this in standard Jeskai aggro?
Honestly, I think it is because they can stoke the flames and buy it back and do it again.
Question: is it better? Does it take Seeker of the Ways place?
Maybe.
Honestly, it's a 2/2 lifelink, so potentially, but at the same time, Seeker of the Way is actually going to be a 3/3 lifelink.
Yeah,
get it
the thing.
that way.
It's a 2-mana
so
3/3 lifelink. So, I mean, that extra point of PT is so huge.
I would like to say.
After prowess, it's a 3.
I would like to say yes, it's going to take its place, but honestly, I don't think it's going to completely take its place. I think it's just going to drop Seeker of the Way down a little bit.
Yeah, maybe like a 2 or 3 of or something.
Yeah,
I think in some Jeskai aggro's Seeker is already a 3 of. They
lot
don't run
of-
that many
A lot
creatures.
of Jeskai stuff that I've seen, they actually only have like 1 Seeker.
That's crazy, really.
Yeah, I've seen 2 or 3 Jeskai decks out there that only have 1
Crazy,
Seeker.
like the beginning of the format, Seeker was just doing so much work.
Yeah,
so,
and now he has dropped down a little bit, so maybe this is going to be the guy
Maybe.
that steps in and fills the shoes.
I can see both of them being in. It seems like they're just so similar. And Soulfire is better as far as reach, you know? It's a much better card for reach. And just, God, that second ability is just nuts.
Yeah.
Like, your Lightning Strike swings 6 points of life, and it's just
Yeah.
so unbelievable.
Your Stoke
Like,
of Flames is like 8 points of life.
this is one of the most. This is probably the most like pushed card in the set. It's up there. White got some good stuff, honestly. Soulfire Grandmaster play it. It's going to be a thing in Standard, I would say, definitely. Let's talk about another ridiculous card. Actually,
Valorous Stance. A white and a colorless.
I was just thumbs up for Valorous Stance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instant speed. Choose one. Target creature gains indestructible until end of turn. So on one hand we've got protection. On the other hand we've got destroy target creature from toughness 4 or greater. With toughness 4 or greater, excuse me.
These are both extremely relevant abilities. No matter what you choose.
The main threat in the format right now, which is Siege Rhino,
Yep.
it also blows up one of the main walls in the format right now, which is Courser of Crewfix.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
good. It's
It's
going to
good.
see standard play.
And just this, like, people are kind of discounting the target creature gains indestructible in return. Like, even that is really good, you
Yeah.
know? Like, considering it's in the same colors as the board wipe,
Yeah.
you know, and it's a trick when they try to kill your guy, you know? There's so many things. Like, I feel like this card is really skill intensive. You know, like, do you hold it or not? Do you wait until you can, you know, save one of your guys and kill one of theirs during combat? Or do you
in
go ahead?
limited,
I
I would
think
definitely
you-
hold this.
Yeah.
In limited, I would definitely hold this.
It's just,
I would
there's so
hold
many
that until
decisions.
they had their boat ready, and then just blow up the boat and try and get
Yeah,
the game on them like that.
seriously.
Just like,
That's-
oh, you spent all this time on the boat, and now I'm just gonna
Oh.
1 for like 5 you.
Yeah.
And now
And-
Titanic. Oh no.
And the thing
Oh,
fell,
nice.
and
The boat is sinking.
the
But,
ship sunk, the passengers drowned, and now they're cleaning up the mess. On to the next round.
Well, of all the cards that we've reviewed in white so far, and I would say that even more than Soulfire Grandmaster, I think this has the biggest guarantee of being in Standard.
oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And other formats, I mean, this is...
Everyone's
it's
gonna
a thing.
This is a-
I will go as far as to say modern. I don't know about Legacy, but that's because
You know,
I don't know anything about
It's just...
that format.
Modern has Path to Exile, you know, and that's a really good card. And I just don't know how much...
But for 1 more mana, they get the chance to protect themselves too.
Yeah, I just... It having that decision on there just makes it bonkers. This is
Yeah.
this is a freaking fantastic card. I really can't stress enough how good Valorous Stance is. I saw a couple people on message boards like kind of underwhelmed by this card, and this is an incredible piece of removal. Not to mention that you can save a guy with this from board wipes or combat or play this card. Play this card in Standard. Play it in Limited. This card is good.
little tactical advice on the card. If you're playing Standard, almost everyone's going to get maybe one of these. If you get 2 of these, please play them both.
Oh, you're talking about
You need to
Limited?
play, if you
Yeah.
get 2 of these in Limited, you play white.
Oh yeah, most uncommons if you get 2 of them in Limited, it's pretty
It
awesome.
doesn't matter if you got crappy cards, you play white.
Yeah, that's the thing is this is one of those like if you get it, you might want to seriously consider at least splashing white. It's that good.
Yeah.
It is. All right, we got 2 more white cards here, and I'm kind of intrigued by the both of them. Turns out.
I will let you take the first one.
Okay.
Because
Wandering Champion is a 2 mana. That's 1 and a white for a 3/1. 2 mana 3/1. Those are cool. Whenever Wandering Champion deals combat damage to a player, if you control a blue or red permanent, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Now, something interesting about this. people say that you just loot, but that's not true. Because loot, you draw the card and then discard, but this you have to have a card to discard before you can draw another card. That's a very important distinction. Also, I want this guy to be a warrior really bad.
Because
Like,
it's
if he was
a
a-
3/1 2
Yeah,
drop.
if he was a warrior, I think he'd be like a little. He wouldn't be over the top or anything, but he'd be really good in like Jeskai or not even Jeskai. Just white red. He'd be
Yeah.
fine. But honestly, I don't even really like him in limited. Let me say that I like this guy better in constructed than limited.
Is it even a guy?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
I call all creatures guys.
Yeah.
It's like a. It's
Apparently, I'm coming.
It's a human monk, but it appears to be a woman.
Yeah, I think that's a woman. That's a kick-ass.
It is a kick-ass woman because
It's a
she's
kick-ass
kicking
lady.
a dude in half.
As a matter of fact, like her foot is all out, like that's actually kick-ass art.
Yeah, she's
Right
kicking
there.
a guy in half.
In half,
an
like he's
energy foot.
exploding in half. Yeah, she's fucking serious. Yeah, that's the first time I really paid attention to this art.
It is
I
pretty
do that
nice.
with art a lot. I'm like, I'll figure out what this is later.
Yeah.
But
Noteworthy art.
no, I don't like. I don't think she'll be a thing in constructed at all. But the in limited, don't play this card. I will go out on a limb and say I don't like this card. Of course, it trades up.
It does straight up,
so-
but it does have 1 toughness, so it's just gonna die to
Yeah.
anything.
That's the thing is, I really, really don't like 1 toughness in this set. I'm kind of hating on 1 toughness really hard.
There's so many good 3 toughness things. That's why, though.
Yeah.
Now coming
That's
up
the
in
thing. Toughness is more important in the set than power, I would say, especially in the limited.
I mean, I mean, it might have a place in limited because it is a 2-drop 3/1.
yeah. I mean, those are
Like,
traditionally people
yeah.
like them, but only because they trade up. Like,
Yeah.
you're not looking to deal 9 damage with this guy. You're
Mhm.
looking to trade for their 3rd or 4th turn play.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
happens to have 3
And
toughness.
if you just happen to be playing, red or blue, that might help a little. But I mean,
And I think he trades favorably with a lot of stuff, and he'll keep stuff from attacking. But I've actually always been a huge fan of 2-mana 3/1s, but in this particular environment, I don't know. Now
it's
there
gonna
is.
see, it's going to see a lot of stuff.
There is something to point out, though, that I've only just now thought of and feel like an idiot for doing that. Bolster.
That's what I've been saying the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, he's got
Bolster's the
yeah,
whole-
he's got
bolster's
1
the
toughness.
thing.
So,
Never mind.
Yeah, if you can get some
And-
bolster effects in there, then maybe play this guy.
Yeah.
And I will say this: even if you don't have black or blue or red permanents, he's still a 2-mana 3/1 and he trades up and he bolsters.
And
So
if you're making, if you're playing white, you're probably bolstering.
I think I've maybe talked myself out of this card being
Yeah,
bad,
that's
but
good.
I'm still not totally. I'm kind of on the fence.
I don't know.
Still-
I would love to manifest this guy and be able to bolster it.
Maybe I want. There's better stuff.
But being
You
able
know?
to turn it up for flip it up for 2 mana and have a 3/1 instead of a 2/2 and maybe
Yeah.
get a bolster effect out of it. Like,
Yeah, but I just 9 times out of 10 when you flip up, it's on blocks.
yeah.
So you just I don't know.
It's a
Yeah.
scrying machine.
Well, we got 1 more card in the white part of this set. I'm gonna
Yeah.
let Tony get it. I think he wants it.
Yeah, I'm all over this card.
For limited, this is ridiculous.
For limited, I love this card to death. In constructed, I wouldn't touch this. You couldn't pay me money to touch this.
Yeah,
in
this is-
constructed.
it's probably
But
terrible.
in limited, oh my god, we're gonna love this. It's gonna do all the work for us for anybody that loves the idea of this set. Dragons. It's Windscale Dragon. It's 2 white and 4 colorless. 6
Board
mana,
scale.
so would really like to see it at 5, but
That'd
it's
be nice.
okay. It's okay because it's a 4/4 flyer, and whenever it attacks, defending player can't cast spells.
What?
Yeah, that's actually really good.
So it basically protects itself and all your other team.
From
And
stupid combat tricks.
Yeah,
Protects
from
you
stupid
completely.
combat tricks and things.
That's this
and
card
it protects you.
in limited. This probably isn't the best dragon. Like the black one is really good in limited.
Oh
but
yeah, don't
honestly,
get me wrong.
I really like this guy in limited, if only because you can swing and just be totally,
Free.
safe and
Yeah.
happy. It's gotta feel so good to play this guy and swing with him and just not care.
Yeah,
Just
you
do
can
not
swing
care.
in and you don't have to worry about strategy anymore. You go, all right, they have nothing in the air to block this guy, so I'm just swinging 4 and I'm
Making it happen, buddy.
yeah.
Living
And you
the
got
dream.
nothing.
Okay, so
I don't
I'm
care
about to-
what removal or tricks you got. I got this.
I'm about to blow your mind. What was the card called in red that made target creature attack another creature? Like whenever.
Pit
that
fight.
yeah.
Pit fight.
Well, that was red green hybrid.
Yeah.
They can't cast spells during your turn
Well,
and their turn.
as long as
You
it's
just
a
use
no. It's as long as it's attacking.
Yeah, so you make this thing attack.
Yeah,
No,
but you can't
pit
during
fight
their
isn't-
turn.
Pit fight isn't attacking.
Yeah, pit fight doesn't count as combat or anything.
Ah,
yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
That would be awesome,
That
but
would be good.
Yeah, that would
No,
be an
this-
amazingly overpowered.
Not bad.
so much of this set is combat tricks, and
Yeah.
like
This says no to
it's just
combat.
you can
tricks.
breathe easy during combat, and not only that, he's a 6-mana 4/4 flyer, and air elemental is always good and limited. So play this
Play it.
card, play this card in limited, but don't touch it in constructed. It's not good.
Mm-mm.
It's not. I mean, people do play combat tricks in limited, especially like jet air constructed, especially Jeskai and stuff. But
How do we feel about Commander as maybe a dragon deck?
Well, I want to say one
this
last,
is hilarious.
I
in
want to say
Commander.
one last thing about this before you talk about that. Now, remember it says on the card when it is attacking.
It is attacking.
So that just means for the attack phase.
Just the attack step.
Just the attack phase.
Yeah,
You
not the
need
rest
to-
of the turn.
You're
Yeah,
safe.
you need to remember that because you might just go, oh, okay, well now they can't touch me,
Well,
and then they just burn you.
I feel like in
Yeah.
Commander, there's probably better stuff for cheaper cost. That's like they can't cast spells on your turn at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You
So,
can, you can make that happen. You can make that happen.
but I
It is a great just
If anything,
full flyer.
white is really good for limited, as it usually is. White is usually a strong color because defensive and offensive options. It has removal and all that. So white, very strong. I would probably suggest integrating that into a draft strategy because you look through the set, like most of the white cards are not very constructed viable, but incredibly limited. Limited viable. So that's our 2 cents for white, at least for Fate Reforged. Appreciate you guys joining us. That was pretty awesome of you. You're awesome. You're good at YouTube. So,
if you like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe down below.
Do all that.
By
Please
all
tell
means,
us your favorites.
yes. Please leave us comments and descriptions.
if you
you'd
disagree
like
with
to see
us, then
do
feel free to
anything
just like tear us apart in the comments.
Yeah, seriously.
You know,
We're
we
doing
don't
all this
care.
for fun. We have a good time. We
Yeah.
hope you are too. And that is our show.
That's gonna be it for now. We'll see you guys tomorrow with something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will see you next time with a blue set review is what we're going to work on next.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Let's do blue. My favorite color in Fate Reforged, I think.
Oh, my
So-
favorite color in Magic. Let's go. Let's
Well,
do
it's,
this.
yeah, I've always been a blue mage, but I honestly am trying to be objective. I don't think that blue's my favorite color in this set because blue's my favorite color. I think that blue has like some of the best options, even in constructed. I think blue has really good constructed.
I will say that I think blue is bringing possibly the most to the table to standard.
Yeah,
Even this whole new set, it seems to me like it's focused for blue. The white especially. The white and blue is just dirt.
Oh, it goes well together.
Yeah,
We've
it
seen a
goes
lot
well,
of blue-white do pretty well at tournaments. Like lately, like people that usually play Esper, like they either play blue-white or blue-black. It seems like blue-white is becoming the better option because of in hostilities and such. Like
Definitely.
you've got that option in blue-white. So we'll see. I actually think control gets way better in this set because
God,
blue
yeah.
gets crazy options. So. We'll see you, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Appreciate you guys. We are Strictly Better. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you later. Bye, YouTube.